Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Griefdrums, and today we're going to be talking about the brand new announcement of Tom Clancy's XDefiant. Now, I want to be real. Let's start from the top. This was painful. It came out of nowhere. We saw a few gameplay images and like little snippets here and there on social media. And then yesterday on July 19th, we actually got the gameplay reveal. And I've got to be honest, I'm not impressed. The biggest problem with this is the fact that it's got Tom Clancy's name on it. And for the last 10, 15 years, the games have just gradually gone more and more downhill, and they are less and less like Tom Clancy. Now, I'm sure that you've already seen loads of other videos similar to this, in which, you know, they're talking about XDefiant and whether it is a good game or a bad game. Today, we're going to have a very quick rundown of what the gameplay actually shows us, and then we're going to break down all of my problems with it. So to start off with, I want to put a bit of a disclaimer out there. This channel has appeared very, very negative just lately towards Ubisoft, and I want to start off by saying that I have no issue with any individual person at Ubisoft. I genuinely would call some of them my friends. The developers that I have met through games like Rainbow Six, some of them are absolutely incredible people. I genuinely mean that. But the company itself seems to be going in this direction that is really strange right now. Every game they make seems to be like some sort of bastardization of their other games. There is nothing new coming from the company. And when they do attempt something new, it's very often a case of just taking other companies' games and trying to make their own version of it. Now, we're going to get into that more in a little bit, but let's start off with looking at XDefiant. Now, XDefiant is a god-awful name to start off with. I mean, they only did it because they wanted to put XD, which in itself seems really odd. I mean, why would you choose to go with XD and XDefiant when, you know, you put in Tom Clancy in front of it? Tom Clancy's books were always about things like, you know, the Cold War and just after the Cold War. So they were called things like Executive Orders, Clear and Present Danger, The Hunt for Red October. The kind of books that they were and the kind of people that they appealed to were not young kids that played Fortnite. Now, I understand that Ubisoft is a company. I will be the first to admit that they are a gaming company and they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. Ubisoft has always done this. I mean, they produce games like Rabbids, they produce Rayman, and then on the other end of the spectrum, they produce games like Rainbow Six. And I'm not talking about Rainbow Six Siege with their hero shooter. I'm talking about the original Rainbow Six games. If you look back to the original Ghost Recon, the Splinter Cell, it was always very tactical. It was a lot slower. It was more immersive. But over the past few years, somewhere along the lines, the games have just become blurred. Ghost Recon somewhere became a looter-shooter travesty. Splinter Cell's gone MIA. The Extraction game that they have announced for Rainbow Six, where you're fighting against alien parasites, for me, as a Rainbow Six player, it was cool to see some of the characters brought to life in a different game, but fighting against alien hordes really isn't it. I really feel like at the moment Ubisoft is just missing the mark entirely. So when XDefiant dropped out of nowhere and people started looking at it, and it kind of looks like COD from about 10 years ago, coupled with the punk rock mosh pit art style of something like Fortnite. Or no, you know what? It's not Fortnite, it's Riders Republic, isn't it? That's basically what they've done. They've taken the dev team from Riders Republic and mashed it into another game. Nothing in XDefiant looks original. Nothing looks that interesting, really. And honestly, the cheek of it to say that they're going for realistic shooting is just embarrassing. If you actually look at the gunplay, yes, the rifle recoils a lot, but the actual bullets themselves are like friggin' laser beams. This is essentially a COD ripoff. And then somewhere along the line, someone said, you know what, we kind of want Tom Clancy's name in there. We're going to put Tom Clancy in there because that's going to make the game sell a lot more. That in turn looks like they've sat down then around a desk and gone, okay, so how are we going to tie this into the Tom Clancy universe? Well, I know. We'll take all of the characters from different games and we'll put them into this, because Splinter Cell fans are really going to want not Sam Fisher, not a load of stealth. The people that wanted Splinter Cell are going to want, you know, a woman with Sam Fisher's goggles on. That's going to make it better. You know what else we could do? We can go ahead and take Wolves, the Wolves from Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you know, the worst Ghost Recon game that we've ever seen, and we'll throw those in there as well for people to play. That's a really good idea. It's frankly just mind-blowing that people have sat around a table to discuss this game, and somebody somewhere has approved it. Now, the other strange thing about this is the fact that the game is going to be a free-to-play by the looks of it. It's kind of like the direction they went with Hyperscape, in which they make it free-to-play, but the problem with that is it then invites a load of people into the game that you probably don't really want. It's going to enable loads of smurfs. In the past, it's been quite obvious that free-to-play games seem to attract more cheaters because it's so easy to get new accounts. It's just a really strange decision, and one that I don't understand. There's probably going to be a ton of microtransactions, because I think, you know, with Rainbow Six, they saw that they were able to make quite a lot of money through these microtransactions and through the use of Rainbow Six credits. So I think they're trying to go in the similar direction here. To say I'm disappointed is genuinely an understatement. It really, really is. I was so desperate for a decent game to come out of Ubisoft. I mean, who would have thought that the closest likeness to a Tom Clancy game we were going to get in the last 10 years was going to be Wildlands? Seriously, how has that happened? The community are out here crying out for a Splinter Cell game. They are absolutely desperate for some sort of tactical, immersive game. But instead, everything that's coming out is just this arcade shooter. Breakpoint had the opportunity to turn things around. You know, following Wildlands, a lot of people turned around and said, you know, we're really desperate for this to be more hardcore. Less HUD, more immersive, make people actually have to concentrate on the game, not just sort of sit there in, you know, the absolute chill mode. Implement these features that people are so desperate for. And then when Breakpoint dropped, instead there were light pillars everywhere. You're supposed to be playing as people that are downed behind enemy lines, special forces soldiers that are trapped on an island being hunted down. So when there's 150 people that are all special forces operators hiding inside of a hollowed out mountain, buying 50 cals from the shop in there, running around wearing pink camo, and the drones cannot figure out where they are, despite the fact that they're using futuristic stuff, and the drones are fitted with thermal technology. They can't find 150 people inside of a mountain. Come on. Breakpoint had the opportunity to be that trapped behind enemy lines game where you actually have to try and survive, where you have to find food, you have to find water. You're supposed to feel hunted, and at no point did we ever get that. So with Rainbow Six turning into this friggin' hero shooter where everyone's got these crazy gadgets, and people are starting to get more and more fed up with the fact that you're not shooting anymore. When XDefiant drops the reveal and they're talking about how shooting comes first.
We are a shooter first.
Shooter first.
The very next clip they show happens to be someone turning invisible and this giant plasma shield that looks like something from Halo. I genuinely question what on earth is going on inside of this company at times. Now, as I say, I have no ill will against anybody that I have met there. Every single person has been lovely. Every single person has been hardworking, down to earth, and just genuinely nice. But the higher-ups are so disconnected from the current player base they have. Now, I know for a fact that there are going to be people out there that are going to say, listen, you're talking about wanting a Splinter Cell game, that's not going to work. And the reason that's not going to work is because everything is open world now, and Splinter Cell just wouldn't work in that sort of a setup. I would love to disagree, and I would love to try it. Hell, at this point, I would be just as happy for an old-school linear-style Splinter Cell game. I genuinely would. Or something more akin to Hitman. The latest Hitman games as they released were set in these small little open-world areas. Like, the map was open world, but it wasn't a massive, huge open world. Splinter Cell could work in a system like that, and it would bring it forward into the next-gen era. Metal Gear Solid did it. You know, look at the Phantom Pain. Was it different to the original Metal Gear Solid? Yeah, of course it was. Was it enjoyable? Yeah, it was. XDefiant just looks to be some sort of generic answer to the other devs and other game companies that are coming out with different games. Now, the game is going to be in early alpha, and they're going to be doing testing from the 5th of August. But throughout the entire reveal, they kept stressing this is early alpha, and, you know, they wanted a lot of feedback from the community. So this kind of leads me to believe that they already know the response they're going to get. They already know that people aren't going to dig this, and they kind of tentatively put it out there to see the response that they got. Judging by the like to dislike ratio on YouTube, I would say they've missed the mark. And certainly in my eyes, they have definitely missed the mark. I don't want people running around with Plague Doctor masks on. You know, the whole Watch Dogs style collaboration mixed in with the Division. It just doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. Now, I'm not saying Ubisoft have to make games that I like, but I think there is a large portion of a community that is out there that want a tactical shooter. They want it to be slowed down. They want it to be more akin to the games that we grew up playing. If you go away and you look at games like Ground Branch, you look at 0 Hour, Ready or Not, there is a large community of people that are desperate for this kind of game, certainly on console. The amount of people in the comments whenever I play a game like that, They say, you know, God, how can I get access to this? And they can't because they're not able to play on PC, where indie developers are trying to push these boundaries and make these kind of games like how they used to be. But I just really wish that Ubisoft would pick a direction and go with it, rather than trying to please everybody with this generic sort of shotgun approach of throw everything in there. Stick to what you're good at. The reason the company got as big as it did is because of the fact that you had this corner cut out in the market for games like Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Rainbow Six. There was a huge player base for these games. Releasing a game that looks like COD, as Battlefield is just about to come out, and the new COD is going to be coming out next year, which I think is the rework or the follow-on for Modern Warfare by the sounds of it. You don't honestly think you're going to compete with the likes of that, do you? I don't know. This has been a negative video, and I apologize for that. I'm really frustrated. I'm really upset at the fact that they've gone with whatever the hell this is in the background and had the audacity to throw in stuff like Echelon, as if that's going to somehow appease all of the Splinter Cell fans. Now, if I had a pound for every time I heard Tom Clancy would be rolling in his grave, I would be a rich man. The comments section says it all. I just really hope to God that the company can start to turn their games around and go in the direction that so much of their player base wants. Did The Division appeal to a load of people? Yeah, it did. I'll be honest though, shooting an LMG box mag into someone's face and them tanking 200 rounds because they've got some uber health bar, it just removed all of that realism factor and all of that immersion. XDefiant could be a great game in its own right, but by throwing Tom Clancy's name at the front of it, you're instantly putting an expectation there for a lot of people. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's XDefiant, XD, Tom Clancy's XD, whatever you want to call it. Not my bag. I don't think I will even be touching this. It's just... it's such a shame. It's a real shame. But anyway, I'm curious to hear what you think. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you like the look of it? Do you think that it should have had Tom Clancy's name at the front of it? Doesn't that matter to you? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Perhaps due to the people that I follow on social media, I've just segregated myself off into this little world of people that like tactical shooters, and I'm missing the bigger picture. But I just don't think this is going to appeal to a big market, and I think even if it does appeal to a few people, it's going to last a couple of weeks at best. Regardless, let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay reckless and relentless.